Well, hello everyone. Happy Wednesday and welcome to another episode of Fast and Fun Projects with Noreen. I am Noreen Smith. I am the Product Development Creative Manager for Creative Memories. I've only been in this role, a few weeks, so I'm still getting tongue-tied over my title. It's so surreal to actually work for Creative Memories when I was a long-time fan and advisor. So we've got some gals joining us now. Hello from Macon, Georgia. There we've got Amy from Wisconsin, a bunch of folks saying hi from Facebook. So some of you are watching in the Facebook virtual crop, Creative Memories virtual crop group, and some of you are watching on YouTube. So you'll definitely want to make sure you join or watch or follow the opposite so that you don't miss any of our weekly live series. So if you're watching in the virtual crop group, make sure you head over to YouTube and like and follow and subscribe there so that you can get all of the notifications when we go live. And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you go and request to join the Creative Memories Virtual Crop Facebook group because there is so much going on in that group. You don't want to miss anything. Hello, everyone. A whole bunch of names have just scrolled up there. We've got Mona from Los Angeles. Someone's joining us from Fort Worth, Albuquerque. Oh, and I'm getting a comment. They're so glad you've joined the CM team. I am too. I could not be happier to join what I think is the best paper crafting, scrapbooking, memory keeping company ever. So I'm thrilled. Ohio's joining us, Virginia, Puerto Rico. Hello, 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 everyone. And there's a fellow Canadian. Hello from Ontario. Well, we are going to have some fun today because we are going to actually create an entire album. Now, I will drop the caveat that I may not actually get mine all adhered in our time together because I want to show you how to cut it. I want to show you how to, arrange your pieces. I want to show you all the variations. And then I also want to show you a finished version. So I might not actually get mine completely assembled, but I'm figuring that it's going to take about an hour start to finish to create these 8x8 albums. I also want to let you know that there was a blog post, I think about a year and a half ago, by the fantastic Chrislyn Matei over on the CM blog. I'll try to link that later. She's got a bunch of additional ideas to create an 8x8 album, but these ones today are even simpler. And we're calling this the 8x8 Fast Album Formula. So be on the lookout because down the road we're going to have some other fast formulas coming for, 12 by 12, for Happy Album, and even for layouts and other projects. So that whole idea of getting things done quickly, using your supplies efficiently, that's what we're going to be focusing on. Hello, 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 everyone. I've got a couple of gals here from Australia. Welcome. I know it's early in the morning on Thursday for you. And of course, 5 p.m. Central Time here, in North America. So thank you all for joining me. Okay, I'm just checking my notes here, just making sure I'm not missing anything. So you might have noticed in the description that I've already put the link to the handout, but I'm going to put it up again for you because we have a printable handout and I'm going to go through it all with you in the video. But you're going to be able to get a copy of this for yourself. And it's going to have the cutting guide, instructions, supplies, some bonus ideas, and then 6 different layouts. So you can repeat the layouts, you can switch them up until you've completed all 12 layouts that you're going to need for this album. And again, this album is going to be perfect if you need to create something fast. It might be a gift album, it might be a seasonal album, It might be an album that you're going to give without photos so that somebody could add their photos later. It's great for someone who isn't a scrapbooker yet. I'm sure you're going to convert them, but if they're not a scrapbooker yet, why not create an album for them and gift that to them? Or if you're celebrating, a family reunion and you want to make multiple copies of an album to give to all of the different, branches of the family. This is a great way to do that. Milestone birthday, some kind of special family event. That's going to be awesome. It's also going to be great if you just want to get your base pages done. So, for example, we're going to make a Halloween album today, but if you want to think ahead and make a Christmas album, we'll talk about that at the end, but you might just want to have, a base album completed that you can add photos into occasionally, so for Halloween, for example, maybe you're going to add one photo each Halloween for the next several years. And that's going to be an easy way to have a really fun memory book about Halloween costumes, Halloween parties, that kind of thing. And the last thing I'll mention, of course, is that this is going to be perfect for beginners. I mentioned people who aren't scrapbookers yet, but what about those beginners who, maybe have done, some pages, maybe they're not quite ready for a full album. They might have done a fold over page with their CM advisor. Maybe they've done some CM cards and, they're kind of thinking about getting into scrapbooking, but that 12 by 12 album just feels overwhelming. So this is a great project for beginners. Basic tools, basic cutting. We're going to talk a little bit about some other options, but it's going to be a great thing for those of you who are beginners and for advisors to share with beginners. Okay? Now, the last thing I will say is that this formula can be used again and again. So the supplies that we're going to talk about here in a second, you can use the same supplies in any kind of colorway, any kind of theme. You're really just going to need one package of designer paper, 12 by 12 designer pages, and that's a pack of 12. And then some coordinating embellishments. So you're going to be able to make a variety of different 8 by 8 albums with this really, really quickly. Okay, so let me go ahead. I'm going to take off that link. Again, have a look in the description below the video on YouTube or above the video on Facebook, and you'll be able to see it. Okay, so let me just switch you over here to my table. And as you can see, we are going to use Happy Hauntings. I should have changed my nail polish. I should have gone with a deep purple. But we'll pretend that this is, like blood red for our Halloween coordination here. But yeah, I have the Fast Album Formula handout here. And this is the super simple cutting guide we're going to use. Now, as I mentioned, with supplies, all you need is your album cover of choice. So I'm really thrilled that CM is offering 8 by 8s in the 4 kind of base colors or standard colors. We've got ruby, ebony, the chocolate brown, and the cobalt blue. And of course, you can also get the pages. So I'm going to use the pages here in just a minute, but you can also get the pocket pages anytime. So you can really, you don't have to wait for 8 by 8s, the special ones to come along. You're going to be able to find these all the time on creativememories.com.ca and creativememoriesau.com. Okay, so then you're going to need the album and your pages. One pack of designer paper, again, that's 12 sheets. One coordinating sticker pack is what I'm using, but you can use any other coordinating embellishments. Your 12-inch trimmer for cutting your paper, your personal trimmer for trimming your photos when you're ready to add those, tape runner, foam squares, and a dual tip pen. So that's a pretty basic supply list. Now we are going to talk, I'm not going to do too much about this today, but we are going to talk about some optional supplies that you can add in, like the Border Maker system, the original Border Maker system, and a cartridge. And I'm going to talk about an edge style cartridge and why I recommend that. You can also add in the two-way corner rounder. That's a great tool to add some variety without, it's a very basic tool, but it's going to add some great variety. Peekaboo pockets, of course. And again, I'll mention why we've got additional cardstock or additional paper on the optional supplies list. Okay, so let me just talk about my supplies. As I mentioned, I'm going to use Happy Hauntings, and I think that this, ebony album would be perfect. But since I'm making a Halloween album, what about this one? I am so excited to be able to give you a little sneak peek today. This is the 8x8 Happy Hauntings album, and this is going to be released on Monday, October 31st. It's going to be released on Halloween. So this is something that I am just thrilled that we were able to pull off for you. It's got the same 3 pumpkin design as on the 12x12 album. It's the same black mica, and it's going to be perfect for your Halloween album. So again, this is a sneak peek. I may or may not have one other sneak peek for you in a little while, so stay tuned. But this is going to be great. So I'm going to be using this one. Again, you can always get the base colors, but I'm going to be so excited to use the Happy Hauntings today. And of course, I've got my 8x8 page refills loaded in here, but I will definitely show you another example using the pocket pages. So I'm just going to set my page protectors, which of course come with the page refills, aside. And as I mentioned, I'll show you with pocket pages in just a minute. Okay. And I'm going to just put my stickers aside as well. Now, let's talk about the actual cutting guide and a couple of tips for you. So really what we're going to do is let me just get that in the frame there. What we're really going to do is cut each and every piece in the 12 pack of designer paper using this cutting guide. So you only have to look at this one cutting guide. And you can see that we're going to be able to get 2 4x6 photo mats. We're going to have 2 8x4 strips and 2 8x2 inch strips. So this is going to go super fast. When I was making up my little sample album, it really just took me about 5 minutes. So look at all these gorgeous papers. Now what I do want to do, however, before I cut, is I've kind of got them all turned over here so that I can show them to you. But what I want to do is actually put the same pieces together, and I'm going to cut through both of those pieces at the same time. All right. And I don't want you to worry about these photographic papers, because they're just, once we cut them up, they're just going to have a beautiful sort of misty quality. So don't worry about the fact that there's photographic elements there. Okay, so the reason that I want to cut them at the same time is because then I will have all of my pieces exactly the same, so that when I span the page using, or span the layout using some of these different layouts that are in the handout. So for example, whenever the 2 pieces would meet, then I would be able to have the same sort of direction of pattern and the same sort of orientation happening. So I'm going to go ahead and cut all of my pieces at the same time. Well, no, not all of my pieces. I'm going to cut the same pieces at the same time. So you can see that I'm just kind of, making sure that the patterns are going in the same direction. In this case, the moons are facing the other way. So I'm just going to make sure that all of my papers are going in the same direction. And even looking, just to make sure that they're starting at the same point. Okay, so let's just revisit that little simple cutting guide one more time. We're going to make a cut at 4 inches, 4 inches, and then we're going to turn that 4x12 inch strip, cut it in half to get 2 4x6 inch photo mats. That will leave us with an 8x12 inch piece, which we're going to turn and cut at 4 inches, 4 inches again, and 2 inches. So this is great because you see what pieces you're going to need, okay? So I'm just going to kind of keep that down here. Actually, I'll put it up at the top here so that you can kind of still see it. You may not be able to see my entire cutting process. And I just want to make another quick comment about the actual papers. So when you are looking at your papers, you'll notice that on the cutting guide, you're going to have some pieces that you might want to use vertically and some pieces that you're probably going to use horizontally. And the pieces are going to be used interchangeably. Most of the time, I will remind people to, think about the way that the pattern is going. But here I'm going to say, you know what? These are going to be background papers. A lot of them are going to be covered by your photos, so I don't want you to worry even about the directionality. As long as you have the 2 papers that are the same stacked, you're going to be able to switch your papers back and forth, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and cut these. You're going to see me do this 6 times, so you'll get the hang of it, no problem. So we're going to cut at 4 inches. Take those stacked 4 by 12 inch papers, turn them, and cut at 6. Okay, so that's my first 4 by 6 photo mats. Now I recommend that you just kind of make some little piles here to keep all of the same size pieces together. Okay. All right, now we've got that 8 by 12 inch piece that remains. Turn it sideways, cut at 4. Cut at 4 again, and then cut at 2. So there, we've got 2 pieces cut already, and our other piles are starting. So 8 by 2, 8 by 4, and 4 by 6. So let's just keep going here. And I'm just looking at a couple of comments here as I'm cutting. Although I try not to get distracted, I definitely want to see what you're saying. I've got a bunch of folks talking about Halloween itself, saying that they don't celebrate Halloween, but they need these papers. And, I'm with you there. I think that this is one of the most sort of sophisticated and, really rich looking collections that CM has done for Halloween. And I think the colors are just stunning. I did a layout last week. Let me just grab it here. I did a layout last week using the papers to focus on not Halloween or costumes at all, but one of my favorite movies, right? Hocus Pocus, and now Hocus Pocus 2 is out. So I used those papers to create a layout that was really, not specifically about Halloween. So I'm hoping that some of you who really love these papers can find some other ways to incorporate them into your layouts. But don't forget that you're going to be able to, use this formula with whatever papers, whatever theme you want. And I will tell you that I'm going to show you my finished album was done with seasonal sightings. So it's going to be perfect for a little Christmas album. So I'm just cutting as I'm talking here. And I'm just putting my pieces into their piles. And then really what we're going to do is we're going to take those pieces and mix and match them on our layouts. So all 6 of the layouts that you're going to find on the last 2 pages of your handout, use those pieces, the 8 by 4s, the 8 by 2s, and then the 4 by 6s for matting your photos. Okay, so here's that photographic paper. We're just going to cut through it. And again, in this case, I think what I'd like to do is cut my 4 by 6 pieces over on this side. But really, that's the only paper in this pack that I sort of wanted to make a specific cut at. So now my pieces, my 4 by 6 photo mats, they're mostly dark, okay? So that was really the only one. But now that I'm going to go ahead and cut the 4-inch pieces, one of them is going to have the moon. Well, 2 of them are going to have the moon on them, and that's okay. So you can see it's going really fast. And once you learn that particular formula for cutting, it's only going to take you, like I said, about that 5 minutes to cut all your papers. You saw me hesitate there for a second. I was thinking that I might turn and cut it, but again, some of these are going to be used vertically, some of them are going to be used horizontally. It's all going to work. And I'm going to show you an example of how a horizontal pattern will look when you do it, when you put it into your album vertically a little bit later on. So don't worry about it. All right, so we're almost done here. Just one more cut for this, and then one more set of papers, and then that's it for the cutting. Okay, don't you love this little Happy Hauntings album? And again, even though it's, you know, Happy Hauntings, it's going to be really cute for pumpkin patch photos and fall photos. So again, think about, if you don't celebrate Halloween, think about how else you might want to use that cute little album. So again, it's going to go on sale on October 31st, so Monday. So currently, if you were ordering today, you'd be able to choose from the 4 colors: cobalt, ebony, the chocolate, and the ruby. And then right now there's also 2 other albums. And you'll have to forgive me because I forget their names, but one has the pine cones and then one has the little leaves. So you've got lots of choices right now. But if you want the Happy Hauntings, wait until Monday to order those from your advisor or from the CM sites in your country. All right, so I've got all of my 4x6 photo mats. I've got all of my 8x4 strips and all of my 8x2-inch strips. So we are spoiled for choice here. Now, have a look at the instructions here just in terms of the bonus ideas and then what you can do after you've cut. So really what we're going to do is mix, match, and layer the 8x4 and the 8x2 pieces and follow along with any or all of those sketches. So again, you'll want to make sure that you go and download that. You can use the links that are in the Facebook description or the YouTube description, or you can go to that tiny URL that I'm showing on the screen to download. You can do that now or you can do that later. And then with the 4x6 photos, you'll notice that on each of the layouts, it reminds you to just crop your photos slightly to use with the photo mats. So the photo mats are 4x6. You're going to want to crop your photos just by 1/4 inch so that they fit on the mat and you still see the beautiful mats, okay? We're also going to be able to cut these 4x6 photo mats in half to use with smaller 3x4 photos, which again, you're just going to trim down slightly, okay? So that's something to remember there as well. Using the 4x6 paper pieces to mat photos and cutting them in half to use with smaller photos. Then we're also going to use some 4x4 photos without any mats. So I'll show you that in just a minute, okay? I'm going to mention this now, but I'll remind you later. You're not going to have any waste here. The only thing you might have extras of are the 4x6 photo mats because, and I'll just get rid of that link now, because if you cut some of them into the 3x4 size, you might not use them all. So you might have a couple of these left over. And that's why you want to hang on to them, and you can use them with peekaboo pockets, you can use them as journal spots, or you can use them for punching shapes. You could use any of your punches, custom cutting system pieces, etc., to make additional shapes. Or you might just want to add some additional photos, okay? All right, I'll come back to the bonus ideas in a little bit, but let's go ahead and talk about some of these layouts. So again, I think my plan is to just show you how to lay out each one of these sketches. Sorry, trying to get that in camera. It's working backwards for me. Show you how to lay out each one of these sketches. And then I'm going to also show you some additional ideas for changing them up. Okay. All right. So let's go with the first one. Super, super simple. We are going to place a 8x2 along the bottom edge and the side edge, followed up by one of the 8x4s. So you can go through and sort of think to yourself, okay, what color combination would I want? You can go in order, you can mix these up, you can play around with them to see what you would prefer. But really, all you're doing is taking one of each of the types of strips and adding them according to the sketch. Now, again, I could flip these over too, which gives me even more options. So you have so many options here. If you like to know kind of, the overall look and feel, you might want to go through and sort of say, okay, I really like that with these sparkly sort of, I want to use the back side. So I want those two to go together. So you can go through and, kind of say to yourself, these are the borders strips and the 8x4s and the 8x2s that I want to go together. So once you've placed that down, then you're going to be able to choose one of your 4x6s, okay? And so you might want to put it vertically like this, or you can go ahead and change it up and put it anywhere else on your page. So this side would be my back page. And for my back page then, what I would do is I would add the same strip vertically this time instead of horizontally. And then I would add, my photo this way. So again, I think you can see that even just with that very first layout, you've got so many choices. So you could turn them. Let's open to a full page spread here so we can play around a little bit. So you could open this and let's try it with these two, for example. So we could go ahead and do it exactly as the sketch shows. Let me get another piece. Okay, and there you can see that both of those pieces are actually horizontal directional pieces. Okay, but I think you can tell that once you get them, on here, you're not even going to notice. So where were those black ones, for example? So here I'm going to put one vertically and then I'm going to put one horizontally. And so, I can change that up. I could put the 2-inch strip on top, okay? I could make both of them on both sides of the layout be the same. So many different choices, okay? And I can certainly change the orientation of my photos as well. So maybe you have more vertical photos, maybe you have more horizontal photos. You can put them in the center. You can kind of go by that rule of thirds and put them slightly off center. Your choice. So those are really just some of the variations just from sketch number 1. All right. So let's talk about sketch number 2. And in this idea here, we're going to group 2 of the 8x4s in the center and then use our 8x2s as kind of cross pieces. So let's pull a couple other pieces just for some inspiration. So maybe I'm going to have my moons going like that. Okay, and see, because I've cut both of my pieces at the same time, I'm going to have pieces that kind of match up. All right, and then I'm going to use this. It looks like it's glitter paper, but it's just a photographic paper. So I'm just going to place it like that. That's my layout number 2, according to the sketch. And again, I can choose all kinds of different placements. Now, I should mention that some of you might not like the look of having white pages in the background I really like it because it gives the eye some resting space. It's literally white space. It's literally empty space. So you can put your title over here and you can journal directly on your pages, which makes it even quicker. But if you don't like the look of that, remember that you can get your pages in Spargo, which is the same kind of finish as the inside of your album covers. You can get them in natural, which will have a nice neutral tone effect for you. And it might just be enough to take away that sort of white look. Or if you're doing something like this, you could have black. So you could definitely change up your refill page color. Or if you had a second pack or a tone on tone pack or some, really neutral paper, you could fill in some of the background that's being left by the white. Okay, so again, you can really just go ahead and mix and match to your heart's content. One tip I'll give you is that you want to try to have no more than 3 patterns on your layout. So let's just have a look at why I say this. So say, for example, you decide that you want something like this. And then maybe we're going to put this one. Okay. Now, it all goes because our wonderful designers have definitely, created a mix and match collection and all of the colors go. But it just might be a little bit busy for the eye. So I like to just try and kind of have no more than 3 patterns, maybe 4 if you've got a kind of a neutral pattern. Maybe you could do something like this, for example. This is quite neutral, and then this one has a little bit more pattern. So you could mix and match just a little bit, but I would suggest keeping with just 3. So I've got a couple of questions that I'm seeing in the comments. First of all, can we share this video in our groups? I don't think you can share from the virtual crop group. I'll double check on that and get back to you. But you can probably share the link. Okay, so you can click on the where it'll say Wednesday, October 26th, and the time 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. And then you can copy the link and share it that way. You can also copy the link from the YouTube channel and share it in your groups that way. So you can definitely share this. This is going out publicly to the world, so you can definitely share this. I have another question there about rule of thirds. So really, rule of thirds is just that idea that, when you split a page in half, think about splitting a page into 3. So that would be 1, 2, 3. So placing your photo on that rule of thirds, just slightly off center, kind of that idea of if you divided your page into 3, where the lines would be or where the intersections would be, that's kind of where it really makes it a nice focal point. So that's what rule of thirds is. Okay, so that is layout number 2. Now, just a couple of quick options there. Of course, let's move these up top. You could have one up top and one at the bottom, right? So just by changing the location of your strips, that's kind of fun. Then you could, of course, make them more symmetrical just by doing that. Or you could change it up and you could have, your wide strips at the bottom and then your narrow strips going vertically, maybe along the sides, for example. Okay, so that's another really quick and easy way. Once you have these pieces cut, you're going to find that you can arrange them however you want. Okay? Awesome. Okay, let's go ahead and look at layout number 3, sketch number 3. And this one is nice because, again, you can do a lot of changes with this, but I really like these 3 because you can get full-size photos on them. So let's go ahead, let's choose another combination here. And basically our 8x4 pieces are going to go right in the middle. And then let's choose some fun. What haven't we used yet? Oh, these ones are pretty. I like these kind of, they remind me of kind of sophisticated, ghoulish sort of photos there. Okay, so that's really pretty. We've got the orange and then we've got the 2-inch strips above and below. And again, you could switch those up to either side, whichever way you want. In the sketch, we've got them shown with the strip above on the left-hand side and below on the right-hand side. but that's okay, whichever way you want. And then where's that purple? That was really pretty. So let's go ahead and bring in some purple now here. And really our photos are just going to kind of stagger over the seam between each of those pages. So how easy is that? And again, you got lots of room for journaling down here or opposite. And then you can put the title in the opposite way. So let me just do that according to the actual sketch that we've got so I'm not confusing anybody. Oh, look, and there's a completely different way to arrange those ones. Okay. All right. So there you go. That's exactly like the sketch. Journaling down here with a couple of embellishments and then your nice wide or long title there. All right. Now, of course, again, just like we showed on the first one, you could just simply switch these to the sides. So many variations. And I would recommend, if you're making this for, a gift and you're not going to put photos in it, then I would just go ahead and follow the sketches as they are and then just repeat them because there's 6 sketches, you're going to make 12 layouts. But if I had photos, then for each layout, I'm going to customize it to, to whatever my photos are. But again, you're going to see that you've got lots and lots of options. So you could still put 2 horizontal or landscape photos there, even if you move your paper pieces around. Now, the other thing, remember at the beginning when we started cutting and putting our pieces into piles, remember I mentioned that you can cut these in half so that you've got you can add in some smaller photos. So let's just go ahead and do that because we're going to need some for our next sketches. So I'll probably pull it out again. But if you have a lot of small photos, you can add, a couple in there. You could definitely add, one large photo and then maybe overlap slightly or even get another one on top like that. So lots and lots of options. So let's talk a little bit more about the 3x4s. Let's choose some more combinations here. And let's go on to layout sketch number 4. All right, so there's those bats again. We're going to place those down about an inch up from the bottom, and then you'll have about an inch down from the top. Okay, and let's bring in some orange. Which orange shall we do? Let's do these ones. Okay, so our little pumpkins and our little bats. And then for this one, we're going to add 4 photos, 4 3x4s. So that's really fun because we're going to be able to get additional photos done here. Now, if you have your own photo printer, you're probably familiar with getting, 2 photos onto one piece of paper or one piece of photo paper, 4x6. If you don't, you can always crop your photos down to this size. Remember, this is what's going to be the matte size. So when you go to place your photos, you're going to want to crop them down just slightly. Okay, 2 3/4 by 3 3/4. So again, you can move these around. You can change one side to have, vertical photos and one side to have horizontal photos. It's totally up to you. That's going to work as long as you have those 3 colors repeated or those 3 patterns repeated. It's going to look great no matter which way you arrange it. All right, we're going to motor through here and get a couple more done. I'm just going to use these same pieces, but let's flip them over. Okay, so we're on to sketch number 5. So I like that. And then maybe I would have some of these cut into the 3x4s. Okay, maybe I would cut these ones into the 3x4s, but since I've got these ones already cut, I'm just going to show you. You can have these very, linear and very symmetrical. There's sketch number 5. And even though I had them kind of askew in sketch number 4, you know, you can make any of the ones that are askew more fun and playful looking, or you can keep them nice and straight, which gives it a little bit more of a sort of traditional look. So place your photos, place your, you know, your pieces as you want. Remember, there's no wrong way to do this. This is just a guideline for you so that you can get these albums done fast. All right. Now let's do the last layout. And again, you could switch all of the pieces around for that. Let's do the last one. And I'm going to remind you that you don't need to worry about the fact that you've got some directional papers there because, you know, you're going to be doing some layering. So for this one, we're going to actually layer. Where's another one of my, there we go. We're going to actually layer the 2-inch strips on top of the 8-inch strips. And that's going to give us enough room to get our 4x4 photos, full-size 4x4 photos in here. And it's going to look great. You're not going to have to mat them or anything. You're just going to pop them right there onto the page, and it's going to work just perfectly for you. So again, you can see here that that is sketch number 6. So just overlapping the 2 strips and then filling in the space with your 4x4s. And again, you can do, you know, move those strips all around as much as you want. There's, you know, more vertical, symmetrical that way. You could put them across the bottom and have all your photos across the top. And then you've got these nice big sort of spaces for your journaling and your titles. So you could, you know, put your title in a nice big embellishment cluster there. You could even get a couple more. I've got all of the same colors here, so let me just switch that out. You can even get a couple more of your small photos down at the bottom. Okay, so you can maybe add one more small photo on each side and still have room for your title and journaling. If your background paper is really busy, add a little tag, add a little scrap piece of cardstock. You know, just something, a little small piece that you can write your journaling on. So there are infinite number of ways that you can create your album, even though we've only given you 6 different sketches. Okay, so as I said, I'm not going to adhere anything right now. I'll be putting my album together and I'll do a little flip through for you later. But what I want to do now, and I'll get all of this out of the way so it doesn't distract you, because we're going to move from Halloween to Christmas. And remember that I said I might have another sneak peek for you? Maybe I do. I could definitely do my Christmas album in the beautiful ruby, but how about seasonal trees? I love it. This is the same forest green as the Seasonal Sightings Cardinals album, the one with the cardinals on the front. They were a little bit too big for an 8x8, but look at that gold foil on the forest green with those fun trees. So this is called Seasonal Trees 8x8 album, and it will also be available on Monday, October 31st for you. Okay, isn't that gorgeous? I absolutely love it. So I'm thrilled that I'm going to use this for my December Days album. And I'm going to tell you about that here in just a second. So I know that some of you, might not be familiar with the pocket pages. So I just want to remind you that the pocket pages come with an 8x8 white insert in them. And then you can go ahead and add your paper pieces exactly in the same way. And then you just slide them back into your album, okay, or into the pages. So let's have a quick look through here and I'll tell you what I'm going to be doing with this. So again, I have just used the sketches that I've shown you. So there's the first part of the sketch, and I've used the one on the back here. It's the second side of sketch number 1. Here is sketch number 2. And I know that there's a bit of glare, but otherwise I can't really flip through for you. So I'll try to eliminate that. But here's sketch number 2, okay? Number 3, isn't that pretty? And I know some of you, are thinking, how do you use, really big scale papers or small scale papers? Once you get them on here, it just all blends together so beautifully. So I think you're going to love it. Here is sketch number 4. So I've got the neutrals mixed in with that cute little jingle bell pattern and the kind of the snowy snowfall or the splatter on the green. Here's number 5. Again, 2 3x4s on each page. And then here's number 6, which we just did in the other album with the 8x4 and the 8x2 layered on top. So those are exactly the same sketches, and it looks completely different. Let me flip through really quickly to just show you a couple of the options that we have. So remember on our supply list, we had an optional supply of the original Border Maker system and an edge style Border Maker cartridge. This is why I recommend the edge style here, because all you have to do is punch with your choice of cartridge along one edge. You don't get an extra piece. You don't have to try and fit it in somewhere else. All you have to do is place it down again. So that's why I recommend an edge style as opposed to a chain style or a punch out style. Okay, so that's one way to do it. So again, I've pretty much copied sketch number 1 again, but I've just punched one edge of the 8x4s with the poinsettia Border Maker cartridge. All right, here's sketch number 2, just flipped. So I've just placed the strips across the top. That's all. And here is sketch 3 flipped. So there's sketch 3 in the handout. Here's sketch 3 just flipped. So even just flipping it or rotating it or mirror imaging it, you're going to be able to get a very different look. And of course, you're using different papers too. But there's the same sketch. There's the same sketch. So nobody, when they look through your albums, is going to say, well, gee whiz, you used the same sketch way back here. All they're going to say is, what a beautiful page. So that's all they're going to be thinking about. All right, let's move on here. Here's sketch number 4. I flipped the strips, but I also made room for horizontal photos instead of the vertical photos. So again, same sketch, just slightly changing it up. And here's sketch number 5. All I did was kind of rotated it. I put the large pieces at the top. I did the same kind of little border punch technique on the 2-inch strips this time. And then I flipped where my photos were going to be. And then for this one, again, sketch number 6 just flipped. And I already showed you the last page, which is the second page of the first layout. Okay, so this is going to be my December Days album. Many of you are familiar with Ali Edwards' December Daily albums. And that's really the idea that you're documenting the time that leads up to the holiday. You're documenting events that happen in December, not just Christmas Day itself. So I'm going to be using that this year, and I'm going to invite you to check in with me every Wednesday in December. I think it's the 7th, the 14th, and the 21st. And I'm going to be completing my December Days album with you on those fast and fun projects. Okay, so I'm going to be using some of the seasonal sightings embellishments, some of the matte cards, of course the stickers because they're just too cute. And that's where we're going to be starting to use the peekaboo pockets and even memorabilia pockets. I do have 4 photo mats left over from assembling my album. That is the only leftovers. So I'm going to be using those in some of the peekaboo pockets. I'm going to be able to add in the variety map pack cards for journals and add those in for extra photos. We're just going to have a great time completing all of these pages in this album, this fast album formula in December. Okay, so I want you, and I'm gonna just pop back on here now, so you're not talking to my hands. I want you to think about making your album, whether it's going to be a Halloween album, a Christmas gift album, a December days album, whatever you're thinking about. I would love to see you make your albums and then share them in the Virtual Crop Facebook group. Right now, the album completion challenge, of course, is on for October. If you don't get it done now, you can share them in December, okay, or November, right? So there's still lots of opportunities to share those finished albums. But if you're interested in doing a December days, definitely create your 8x8 fast album formula. Leave the pages, just sort of as is. They're going to be base pages. And then join me in December as each week we finish off about 7 pages each time we get together. So I think that's going to be so much fun. All right. In the meantime, though, we've still got a few weeks before December happens. So what's coming up? Next week, we've actually got, let me see if I can find my little checklist of supplies here. Next week, we're going to go back and focus on borders. So we are going to be making some borders using, of course, the incredible Creative Memories tools. You're going to need your 12-inch trimmer, the Border Maker system, and this time I'm going to specify a chain style Border Maker cartridge of your choice. That's the kind of Border Maker cartridge that creates a separated strip. Whatever paper you want to use, whatever embellishments you want to use, and maybe some coordinating cardstock. Okay, so that's all that you are going to need. So I hope that you join me next Wednesday to make some fun borders you can adapt again to so many different layouts. And then again, don't forget to think about creating that 8x8 album and having it ready for December so that we can make our December days albums together. I'm looking at everything I have on my little notes here. So if you do create your album, be sure to film a little flip through and share it in the Virtual Crop Facebook group. And you can, of course, order all of your supplies through your advisor or creativememories.com.ca or creativememoriesau.com in Australia. I'm so excited to see what you guys do with these. I can't wait to hear what you come up with and see what you come up with. I think you're going to have lots of fun. I will finish off my album later tonight or first thing tomorrow morning, and I will also post that with some links back to the to the original video. Don't forget to go and get your handout. And again, here's the link, or look in the description from the Facebook group, the post above this video in Facebook, or the description box below the video if you're in YouTube. Okay? Can't wait to go back and have a look at all of your comments. Love the 8x8 formula I see. Can't wait to try this. Can't wait to try this. Oh, thanks everybody. I'm getting lots of love as well. So I always appreciate it. And I'm so happy to be sharing these ideas with you each and every week. Fast and fun projects with Noreen. So we'll see you next Wednesday, 5 p.m. Central Time to make some borders. Okay? Have a great week. We will see you next week. Bye-bye.